Hello and welcome, guys. Welcome and hello and welcome. I grew tired of doing my menial job, just opening stacks and stacks of mail. So I decided to throw together another quick episode of Un Poco Mas. Of course, the show where we give you just a little bit more. We do our best anyway. Of course, they call me DJ Patchy Drizzle. They call me MC Al Dente. They call me Little Danny Cornbread DeCarlo because I'm moist, I'm doughy, and I crumble under pressure. Of course, they call me the tugboat because I'm short in stature, pull more than my own weight. I'm rarely far from my own port. They call me Stubby Cohiba due to an unfortunate manscaping accident I had while using a Vitamix blender for said purpose, an unwise decision in retrospect. But anywhere in South Florida, they still call me Stubby Cohiba. Anyway, guys, that's neither here nor there. The topic on the table, to quote the great hacksaw Lee Hamilton, topic on the table. Torrey Pines JV girls basketball. Have you seen the set shot on number 11? Discuss with the coach, John Quintera. Just love the purity of the women's game. Oh, I just love San Diego sports talk radio in the 90s. Formative to my comedy, my entire persona. Anyway, who else was there? Jim Rome, Hacksaw Lee Hamilton, the coach, John Quintera, so many greats. I want to hear from a man named Jorge on the ladies' line, calling from Ensenada, Mexico, talking hockey. He would just give these like impossible shout outs that nobody could even understand. But anyway, Hacksaw Lee Hamilton. I don't know if he's still going, but man, one of the best. Anyway, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm really tired, but I want to talk about something that's just everybody's kind of asking me about this, like Nvidia. I mean, when I say everybody, it's like a sir story, like maybe one person, but it sounds better if I say people are asking me. It gives me some impetus to make this stupid video when in fact I have none, and nobody cares what the hell I have to say. But that's the secret of you turders. Nobody really gives a shit about our opinions, but we're mentally ill and we like to hear ourselves talk. So that's the way it is. But guys, remember just a couple days ago, it was on the 25th, the news came out, Google's using their TPU chips and they're going to make a deal with Facebook and it's going to take market share from Nvidia. And Nvidia was trading like 183 or 184. I don't know, whatever it was. And the previous day the high was 183. And then on that news, it dipped all the way down to a low below 170. And I was, of course, dipped a toe in the water because I really like SMCI as a value proposition. But the reason, one of the main reasons I like SMCI is their cozy relationship with Nvidia, which I don't think is going anywhere because I think SMCI adds a tremendous amount of value. But I was not at all worried. I hear these disruptor stories, so often. It just makes me sick. It was the one I often joke about is how, when it was years ago, but Goldman Sachs came out and announced this big deal about their Marcus, retail banking product, and all the fintechs went down. Everybody was terrified, and especially Sofi. And I was making constant Sofi videos at the time. And it turns out that this product was a pile of dog shit and nobody wanted to touch it because it stinks. And, it just couldn't gain any traction and nobody cared about it. It's just, they spent a lot of money. They, obviously Goldman is the 800-pound gorilla in banking. They're not, that prevalent in retail banking, but it just basically goes to show you that just because you're a really big investment bank, maybe you're not going to succeed, pushing around, retail and neobanks, and another great example would be Apple Car, Project Titan. Like Apple spent 10 years plus and billions of dollars on Project Titan to try to build an electric self-driving car, essentially the same thing like Tesla's been doing, but they were doing it, in top secret fashion. And it turned out, it was much, much harder to do than people think. And again, people think, well, Elon Musk keeps promising full self-driving much. I do think he overpromises, but I think in his own head, he thinks these timelines are possible. But even for him, I think he's just underestimating the difficulty, the scope of these tasks he's taking on to sort of, revolutionize an entire sector, push AI in a, practical direction, monetize it, et cetera. And I think that's what, a lot of people think Google's doing very well. Is Elon Musk said the same thing recently. Is Google is laying the foundation to sort of monetize AI in the future. And a lot of people aren't so sure about companies like, of course, the example has been Zuckerberg and Meta and all the money he's spending on that side. But if I love I don't love Apple, actually. I don't, not at these prices. I think it's way too high. I also don't think Apple, a lot of the thing is like ecosystem. Like, even if the Google chips made sense, and those are largely only applicable in Google Cloud, I'm reading all this stuff, but a lot of it is ecosystem. Like, you're locked into Nvidia's stack as a developer. It's everywhere. So there's a barrier to switching. It's like, it kind of works as a moat, because if you're completely invested in this ecosystem for so many years, it's very, very difficult to switch out. Even if you thought the Google solution would be ultimately more cost effective, how much time, effort, complexity, uncertainty would be involved in switching over, when Nvidia is a known commodity, and you can use other sort of interchangeable solutions with maybe not quite the performance in terms of AMD, um you know Intel, whatever, I don't know. So sorry guys, had to take a quick look at a message. But no, I was taking advantage, and I think Nvidia, in actuality, I think vis-a-vis big tech, Nvidia, you could almost say, is still undervalued. I mean, if you look at just the last quarter, Nvidia did 36 billion in operating income on 57 billion in sales, and Alphabet did 31 billion in operating income on 102 billion dollars in sales. So Nvidia has just over half the sales, and still, what, 15-17% more operating income, which is a key metric. I mean, you can look at cash flow, you can look at a variety of things, but Nvidia's financials are like beyond superhuman. I mean, they're the balls and the taint. And I'm a huge Google fanboy. I mean, like I said, I was begging you guys to buy this stock at $1.50, but I'm not going to necessarily tell you to buy it close to a $4 trillion valuation. I personally, at the similar valuation, I would rather own Nvidia. And it's not because I think Nvidia is going to necessarily last longer, but I think the stock will run higher in the short term, because I think there's just been more long-term momentum and foundation that supports the narrative that Nvidia deserves that valuation, where I think Google has run up 31% in the last month on a couple of major catalysts that, while they could affect the future and they could end up, people think optimistically they could take 10% of Nvidia's market share in the AI data center game over a period of years. It wouldn't be right away. But people think this is going to affect Nvidia's gross margins not in the near term, not at all. I just think this is foolhardy. And Nvidia is also innovating at a pace that is just impossible for anyone else to keep up with, even big tech, because this is what they do. They've already developed the next generation of chip beyond Blackwell. They're talking about bringing this bad Oscar out next year. So, I think it's all a bunch of hand wringing, and I think market makers can dump these narratives on us whenever they want and drive the stock down, 8-10%, perhaps cover, perhaps accumulate, perhaps buy, because Nvidia continues to turn in financial results that are simply mind-boggling. I mean, Google's financial results are incredible, but as you just saw, Nvidia is like more than twice as good in terms of just cash flow from operations or operating income or whatever the hell I was looking at. So Nvidia controls 90% of the AI accelerator market. I'm just giving a few facts from Copilot. They run every major AI network frame, making them the Swiss Army knife. So developers, startups, enterprise, they're deeply invested in Nvidia's software stack, a moat Google doesn't have. TPU limitations, their application-specific integrated circuits highly efficient for certain workloads. They're less flexible than GPUs, which can handle a wide range of tasks. TPUs mostly tied to Google Cloud, limiting adoption compared to NVIDIA's chips, which are sold broadly across all industries. Execution, business model. So the record-breaking margins, 73 plus percent. Google handling this mainly in the cloud. If Google captures 10%, NVIDIA's dominance remains intact. Hyperscalers, a lot of people are trying to, broaden or bring chips in-house because it's basically anytime you have these huge margins, it's like a giant target. You have a dominant market force, and you have these massive margins. They're going to come after that. Problem is in EV, pardon me, in EVs, in cars in general, unless you get to that self-driving robotic, robo-taxi element of it, there's no margin in cars. I mean, most of the money Tesla's made has been on tax credits. There's just not that much margin in these vehicles unless you reach massive scale. And I mean, Tesla is another fair example. I was looking at this the other day when I was studying, NIO, BYD, Tesla, and the China market. And, a lot of Tesla fanboys and bald napkin math purveyors and, idiots in hats with 5 o'clock shadow who just have no idea what they're talking about, in my opinion. They're saying all other car companies were going to be out of business by 2025, some of them at the latest 2030. Tesla was going to own. Tesla was basically going to enslave all of us. We would all be functioning as batteries somehow in the Matrix, and Elon Musk would be Jabba the Hutting there with Princess Leia. And this is the fantasy land of these, tiny wing heroes, lassoing dreams like so many tiny wings. And I mean, Tesla right now, yeah, they have like 15% of the EV or something worldwide, but BYD actually sells even more EVs, and Tesla only sells like 2 or 3% of the total automotive market worldwide. They literally have like 2 or 3% market share. And these bozos are saying, Tesla's going to build 2 factories every single year between 2022 and 2030. So they were going to build 16 new factories. And it turns out they're not even building Mexico City or whatever, not even building one. So I mean, I'm not saying like Tesla's not a great company, but I'm just saying the hype that they're going to, you're going to kill a market leader. You're going to kill an entire industry. Everyone else is going to be out of business. Take it with a giant grain of salt, please. And I mean, and I was reading another article that Elon Musk is so shocked that other automotive, big companies right now don't want to license his full self-driving software. Well, I don't think even a lot of Tesla users, the people that I know anyway, like 3 out of the 4 close people that I know who bought Tesla, and they are buying Tesla, they're incredible value proposition. Tesla Model 3 and it's an incredible value proposition. It's just an amazing technology vehicle for the money. They have incredible lease and financing rates because they can't sell the damn things. I mean, I was also reading they're about to introduce Apple CarPlay because nobody wants to use their little bullshit arcade, little, tiny wing measuring stick ecosystem, closed loop, app store bullshit, one testicle, laying the witch in the wardrobe. I have no idea what I'm talking. This show's so bad. I know, guys. Sorry. I just was really bored. So this show really isn't for your benefit. I'm not trying to convey any useful information. So stop racking your brain, trying to, read between the lines, trying to sort of unravel the mystery. There is no mystery. I'm a mystery and enigma wrapped up in a Hostess cupcake. That's some high quality H2O. To quote Bobby Boucher, the chickens are gonna come home to roost, Bobby Boucher. So anyway, has Danny bought more NIO shares? Has he rug pulled his fans? No, I haven't rug pulled anybody. I still have a lot of NIO shares. Guys, I hold shares. I trade options. That's what I do. I use the leverage. I use the time decay to my advantage. So I did sell a lot of calls I was holding on Neo, but I didn't sell my shares. I just, when these go down, I just hunker down. I sell covered calls to you bozos who want to keep buying them. And I just ride it out because at the end of the day, I believe Neo is going to emerge as a huge company worldwide, a market leader in China. I think the sentiment, the desire for their cars, they make a better car, a better looking car, a higher quality car, and they give you so much more for the money because of battery as a service. And battery as a service, that whole ecosystem does so much for the government, for the industry, for the environment, for the consumer, for the company itself, for their partners. It just has to get some adoption. It just has to reach some scale, some critical mass. There has to be a couple of partner cars. Not giving up on Neo, not dumping my shares. If I sell my shares, I'm going to tell you. That's with any company I'm talking about. If I sell my shares, I'm not saying I've never sold any shares if I have to pay some taxes or if I'm trimming my overall portfolio just because I need money, which does happen. So I'm not saying, oh, I've never sold a share of any company. Of course I've sold shares of companies. I had hard times like anybody. The milk runs dry. As the great philosopher Aristotle once said, tough titties, said the kitty, when the milk runs dry. Oh, anyway, guys, I know some of you are just like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Some of you guys are angry because my content's horrible. That's my shtick. Bad content. No, nothing even remotely useful. I did invest in this new boom arm and microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit more better. I know, Paul Gardner. Believe it or not, I pay a massive amount of taxes, and I actually pay it. It's brutal every single year. Just sending in all my money. But I'm glad I make money. I have work. I make money in the markets. But every time I trade, that's why I don't like trading. That's why sometimes I don't take profits. Like, aren't you upset you didn't sell Neo at 7? Now it's at 5. No, because I've already had a hell of a good year. I don't need to take more profits. I need to book some losses. But I don't have that many losses. The only losses I have right now on my books are these little smaller companies, prop, and I don't want to sell any of those shares. So I got my huevos stuck between a pressure cooker and a frying pan, if you know what I mean. A little rock and a hard place. A little anvil to the old testicles, So anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to organize the micro wings into a union, but nobody will take us. The Teamsters got out their measure tape and said, no, thank you, sir. I'm like, all right. Put the boxes down. Let it rot. Let them load the boxes. You guys like the film Hoffa? Like Danny DeVito film. It just goes on and on and on, but I love it. Toward the end, where they get into sort of the mafia stuff, it's like Big Lebowski. I just want to watch the first half. We get into the whole dream sequences and all the, bowling and all this stuff with Ma and coitus. And you mean coitus? Yes, Jeffrey, the art of making love, sexual intercourse. Oh. I mean, but it's just like the whole, like those video things, it's too much. It's too much. So we're the same with Hoffa. It just goes on too long. Some of those Godfather movies too. I mean, I love these movies, but like, come on, 4 hours, these bad accents, it's enough. You guys Italian? What's going on here? I mean, it's a masterpiece. I love the movies, but it's like, come on, I got things to do. Give me the Cliffs Notes. Speed it up. Just this one time, Kate. Michael, your accent changes in every scene. You should have seen Scarface, Kate. That was an abomination. The accent was so horrible. I could never tell. Sound like I have marbles in my mouth, Kate. But Michael, why are you doing the accent now? It's another film. I'm on drugs, Kate. Lots of drugs. Hooah! Just go full Pacino. Reminds me of when my brother was living with me. He wouldn't stop doing a Sean Connery impression for like a month. Almost drove me into a mental institution. Imagine someone just this giant kid, this horse just coming up to you just out of nowhere, just punching you in the back of the head and going, "You're playing both sides." What? How? You're so young and big and strong. Stop it. Stop hitting me. I'm just fooling around. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's going to hurt me for like, you know, kid's like half my age, I think. And it hurt me for like years. Gonna leave bruises. I call the elder abuse hotline. That sucks when you get to a point you have to call the elder abuse hotline on your little brother. She's just doing like mild horseplay, but you're just getting injured, not even like intending it. It's like moving around to try to defend yourself, just throw your back out, no contact whatsoever. There were no shots fired, dude. It's cardiac arrest. Quote the great Walter Sobchak. Anyway, so I have no idea what this video is supposed to be about, but I just like things get overhyped. I mean, I don't care if it's, batteries, solid state batteries from QuantumScape or, electric trucks from Hylian or, Yahoo or, BlackBerry. They do not adapt to the changing ecosystem. You could have dominant market share, but if you do not have the adoption of your ecosystem and you're not moving with that over time and market and perception and customers, you're just going to die. You're going to be Blockbuster. Blockbuster saw Netflix coming. They just didn't do anything. They just didn't adapt. They didn't move. I mean, it's another, it's another J.C. Penney. It's another Kohl's. It's another, you know, I don't know. What are some other stores? I can't think of anything right now. It's that one? Sears. What's that one you said? It's Gemco. It's Montgomery Wards. No, I don't know who the hell it is. But you could talk about all these ICE vehicles. If people are getting a reprieve right now, the EV is still inevitable. EV is still better. Pollution is still bad. I mean, yes, the battery costs are still high, but Ford, they kind of backed off. Everybody had to back off a little bit. I think it had something to do with the election, but something to do with the economy, something to do with the cost, something to do with sort of with EV, a lot of times in the US, like the promise, the ease, it just hasn't matched the actual experience, especially a few years ago. Outside of Tesla, the charging networks very spotty, like Blink and all this. The chargers, whenever I'd be with people trying to use, they were always broken. They never worked. The credit cards never went through the networks. And now Tesla was really good. And that's Tesla's moat, I think, more than anything. It's not that their cars are so good, which they are. It's that they're, did the foundational work of building out this charging network. And I think foundational work is what protects you. Foundational work is what builds real durable competitive advantage, which is something my biological father, Anthony Noto, talks about a lot. That foundational work, it's honest. You can't fake it. It costs money. It costs time. It could piss off your shareholders. It can piss off journalists. It can create the wrong narrative. They'll say you're going too slow. You don't know what you're doing. You could tell Noto got pissed off about that at one point in one of his posts. Like, do I look like somebody who doesn't know what to do or when to do it? Or do I look like somebody who does know and then just decides to say, fuck it? Fuck my responsibilities? Do I look like some kind of fucking jerk? It's basically what he's saying. I look like some kind of fucking mark. I'll smack you right across your head. Like Archie slap. That's what he's saying. You don't want my daddy to slap you. Oh, it smarts. Oh, it smarts. Is that Raiders player? Like, whenever I go upside a man, I won't even go there. So bad. Bill Burr. Absolutely not. Billy Jack driving an EV. Southern gentleman. Now, I know, guys, people love their EVs. I just think, and most of the people who don't like EVs don't want to, they've never been in an EV. They've never owned an EV. They've never considered an EV. So if you have a closed mind, you have a tiny wang, you have a black heart, you're not going to adopt. But most people love their Tesla, despite maybe the political entanglements, sort of, because it's kind of an ironic thing. Because like Musk turned out to be very conservative, very pro-Trump, but a lot of people bought EVs because they're more like liberal, more environmentalist. So sort of this, big like nexus of all these sort of competing, you know interests and politics and environmental and science and all this. It's just kind of a big mess, but I think it all still works. People, this is the politics is messy. Life is messy. Society's messy. We don't agree about everything, but it doesn't mean we just, kill each other and throw everything out. It got to work together. You know, we all got to live here. At least those of us that are left after the, purges or whatever. Fucking nuts. Whatever happened with that guy, that big Law and Order border guy who got caught on tape taking the bribe? They never even said like what happened to that guy. I mean, I know he's still there and he's still working, but everyone's like, did he just keep the money? Because and they were going to charge him. They had him on tape taking the bribe, and then he's the same guy who's like, well, if you commit a crime, and I mean, I'm totally for a secure border, totally. I think that's the immigration policy open border thing has just been nuts. So you just have no idea who's coming in. But I'm also not for like what's going on now. It's just crazy. I don't know. I don't want to do sorry, I hit this microphone. I'm not used to it being up here. I don't like to do a political show. It's just so much like hate. Politics now is like hatred. I remember back in the day, like when I was young, there was a show called Crossfire. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was like, Pat Buchanan. And then they had, what was that thin guy's name with the glasses? They were back in the day, like all these people were friends, like the Democrats and Republicans, like Tip O'Neill. And, politics was a lot different. A lot of, people were actually interested in solving the problems of average, ordinary Americans and making their lives better on both sides of the aisle. Just sort of a difference. How do we do that? Now it's like, hey, let's hate each other. Let's kill each other. Hey, if we lose, let's burn everything down. And then on the, the left is like, God, Kamala, really? That's what you've got? Just laughing with that Saturday Night Live lady. Kamala, blah, 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 blah. Jeez. I can't believe it. So many great, I run across so many amazingly great people in this country every single day. Amazing, selfless, incredible, intelligent people. Sometimes I'm just really troubled by the types of folks that rise to the top. Industry, politics, CEO, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter which side or which side, whatever. I think the sides thing is all kind of a fugazi smokescreen for just taking all the money. Because honestly, I don't think I don't think a lot of these CEOs care about certain of these social policies. I just think they want money and power at all costs. Whoever's in power, they're going to cozy up to. It's like, oh, we love Biden. Oh, we love Trump now. Remember, like Zuckerberg, like, all these guys, like, they were all, they were all too happy to cooperate with like, Biden's censorship and all this other stuff. And then, around COVID and different issues. And then so like, okay, now our money's threatened. So now we just completely flip our ideology 180 degrees because we have no ideology. Big corporations, they really have no ethics, ideology, morals. Like, I mean, social media kind of get down to it. They're selling like brain rotting poison to children knowingly, intentionally. So it is what it is, guys. I mean, I'm not the morals police, just a big fat jerk spouting off, jaw jacking, passing the time of day. Oh, yeah, it does. It does, Alfred, not Traxful. Yeah, it's like I think to get to the very top, you have to be kind of a certain personality because it's a dog eat dog, and to get surpass the millions of other people competing for the same bone, you got to be willing to just be a freaking killer, just rip some throats out and not worry about breaking a few eggs, much less killing some people. So I don't know. I don't know what this show's about. It was supposed to be about disruptors and, you know, buying some of these fear-based tiny wang dips on, oh my gosh, this entire industry's over, you know. And I mean, where are these, QuantumScape, I remember saying, oh, our batteries will be ready in 10 years. Well, China's going to be making solid state batteries by then. A lot of people are. And it's like the economics aren't going to work. And I mean, they're already going to like cheaper batteries. Like instead of the, I forget the hydride, it's the metal, I can't, it's a sodium instead of metal hydride. I don't know the names, I don't know the names. I don't know. I'm not a talker. But the bottom line is, I don't think mileage and density, like everybody's talking about this Amazon backed Slate, Bezos backed Slate pickup truck, which is going to be extremely small EV. It's going to have like a 54 kilowatt pack option for an 84 kilowatt pack. Most people, guys, drive 15 to 20 miles maximum per day. Why do you need a Lucid that goes 600 miles on a charge? I mean, when you spend $150,000, when you could spend 25,000 and buy 10 of these things for all your grandkids. A little pickup truck, it converts to an SUV. Very, very intriguing. Very intriguing. That to me looks like a disruptor, because that makes so much sense. I mean, you can't even get a little pickup truck anymore. The Tacoma or the Ranger, big as a fucking Suburban used to be, for God's sake. Compact pickup my asshole. Compact. There's nothing compact about it. It's like literally a Toyota Tacoma is bigger than a, GMC Sierra was in the 90s. These things are giant. Everything gets bigger. Everything gets more expensive. And, loaded Tacoma now, like 70 grand or something. It's cray cray. It's silly. I mean, I want to buy a new car, but, like a fully loaded SUV these days, $130,000. Like a Denali or something. Give me a break. What am I going to sell? Sofi? Buy a car? Hell no. Rather walk, get my fat ass some exercise. You know what I mean? Car prices are dumb. Yeah, car prices are nuts, man. Cars used to be like 20, 25 grand. Now even, Toyota Camry, like nice loaded Camry, 50 grand. Give me a break. I was looking at like a, not the RAV4. What's that bigger one? A little bit bigger Toyota. I don't know what the hell it's called. It's not the Sequoia. It's not the RAV4. It's in the middle. And, that thing loaded, it's like 60 grand. Platinum? Yeah, I want the heated seats. Come on. This big took us. Got to take care of it. I don't know. It's a very complex issue with the emergency tariffs. Because remember, even the Supreme Court is thinking once it hands this power to the executive, it's very, very hard to take back. And they have to realize, despite the elections looking, sort of more and more like there might be some fingers on the scale in some unique and, novel ways, I think at a certain point, there's going to be a Democratic president again. Now, I don't know when, but, politics just has a way of ebbing and flowing that way. It swings to extremes and, people get sick of one party and they push in the other party. That's at least how it's gone historically. So I think the courts are very reticent. Is that the right word? Reticent? Does that mean they want to do it or they don't want to do it? The courts are loath. Anyway, the courts don't want to hand more. The executive's just gobbling up power like a star, just sucking in power everywhere. And I think even conservative jurists are concerned just because, as the legislative becomes irrelevant, so too does the judicial. And you're basically, these decisions you make just continuously handing more and more power to the executive. What happens when there's a different ideology in there? They're still going to have the power. but they're going to have a different ideology than yours. So I think, the courts are very, even if they're not doing it for the right reasons, because I think judges are political on both. I think it's just, you know, undeniable that judges are political on both sides. But, I think they also are realistic in the sense that there is going to be, sorry guys. Anyway, um, so let's see. I forgot what I was talking about, but politics or something. But anyway, guys, that was really all I wanted to do with this video. It was a big bunch of nonsense, but sometimes it's nothing more than a narrative. Sometimes there's a lot of, sometimes there's a lot of fire with the smoke. And I think Google's an incredible buy, but I don't think that should necessarily scare you off from buying Nvidia or buying SMCI or buying some of these other names, because the AI trade is accelerating. If anything, Nvidia is saying demand is just completely off the charts for its product, and the results you're seeing, there's no reason. Now they're going into this like circular financing. Nvidia came back forcefully, denied that, saying this is not an unusual operation to fund, finance some of these purchases to your customers. I have to take a closer look at that. I'm not a huge Nvidia shareholder, just because I missed sort of the big run, and I kind of got in a little bit here and there, trying to pick off little dips. But after a while, there just weren't a lot of dips with the stock because the results were just so incredible. Um, I would be shocked if the Supreme Court. Yeah, I mean, it's not an issue of what he's doing, at least with the courts. It's an issue of the legal issues at play. The sort of push and pull, the balance of power between the legislative and the executive branch. So if by instituting a tariff, you are levying a tax, then you are usurping a core function, a core Article 1 function of the legislative branch. And I think that's where the courts will come down. I don't think it's going to be, hey, we're not going to let the administration create this instability in the world. That's not their job as the court, right? But it's the same. What you're saying is correct. It's functionally the same thing, I guess. But I just think it's not any type of, we want to step in and say, I think some like maybe Alito and some of the others might be very happy to just burn the whole world down. He doesn't seem like a happy guy. Roberts seems fine. Gorsuch, they seem like normal. Something about Alito, it just seems extremely like a hateful individual. But maybe it's just that he's like been needled too much, just had enough. He's had a lifetime. That whole scandal thing with his wife, he's just like, dude, he's like, nah. He's like, this is all made up bullshit. It's like my wife put up some flag, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he's just like he's like, nah, I got no time for this. But hey, he's just a direct to the point person. But I think a lot of times it's like, you assign characteristics to people you don't have the same ideology, although they're bad. But a lot of these judges, they're friends and they get along, behind the scenes, even as much as they may disagree, in their official capacity, I guess you could say. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty. That was pretty. I mean, I personally like. I don't know. Thomas seems like a really weird guy. Like his roommate saying he was like a porn addict in college. He's running some weird pornography business, and then I don't know if that's true either. And then Anita Hill, the entire time, it's not a political thing for me. Sexual harassment, assault, any of this, it goes on all over the place in politics and power, liberal, conservative, and it's just dead wrong everywhere. But I don't have any reason. Like to this day, Professor Anita Hill seems very credible to me. Maybe I'm crazy, you know. Maybe I'm crazy. But so does that woman who accused Bill Clinton of rape. Was her name Kathleen Willie? I don't know. Well, maybe I just have this like, impulse of believing women, whether, I don't know. It just seems like either of these women are the greatest actors in the world or they're telling the truth. Or they believe they're telling the truth. I don't know. I can't say. I wasn't there. But it just seems like an awfully strange thing to make up, doesn't it? That pubic hair on the Coke thing. She's like, oh, you just made that up. A very vivid imagination. Should go into, creative writing. Doesn't seem like the kind of thing she made up. But anyway, I don't know. Billy Jack just out there trolling for sexual harassment on the streets, putting out the vibe. No takers. Sorry, Billy Jack. I apologize. Talking about my small wang or Billy Jack's small wang. Please preface. Yeah, I mean, Gorsuch is okay. I don't know. It just seems like he's at least like cordial. He's not just this extremely like when you hear him questions, he's not just this like extremely hateful. You listen to like Alito, read his opinion, it's like he's talking about like witches and this like medieval views of women. It's very, very strange language. Doesn't seem like a normal individual, but I don't know. I think he makes Thomas seem pretty normal. I guess Thomas hadn't said a word, hadn't asked a question in years and years from the bench. Very odd individual. Get that free motorhome. I wish someone would give me a free $500,000 motor. People make such a big deal about, oh my God, it's corruption. And then they're making a huge deal about Alito took like a free plane ride. I mean, okay, I get it if it's corrupt and you're not supposed to do it. I'm not trying to defend it, but all these galas and events, these like Kennedy centers and all this stuff they've done for all these years, fundraisers, it's all corrupt. So they fly the guy to some men's retreat and go fishing, and that's the best you got? Find the suitcases full of cash. Pure Peruvian wham. Find the Swiss bank accounts that aren't even in Switzerland. They're in like Mars or something. Find the Uranus bank accounts. I have secret bank accounts on Uranus. Dig deep, you'll find them. Anyway, guys, this isn't that funny. Keyword is gala. Guys, as I say, I am not gay, but I am extremely gay friendly and I do like to party. So, take that as you will. I like to limbo. Fat guy, when he limbos, he falls down, just pour alcohol on his face. But I also don't drink, so I don't know. I'm basically no fun. Basically a wet blanket. Old fuddy-duddy. Get the party stopped. Anyway, guys, this video is absolutely terrible. I'm going to end it here because there's just no point, but I appreciate you watching. It's Un Poco Mas. Is anybody still watching? Oh, like 23 people. God bless you guys. I don't know why anyone would watch this, but thank you. Appreciate you guys watching. King of Swing. Appreciate it, brother. Nostro Plus H7X. Indeed, a gay law is a good law. Billy Jack, I hope someone sexually harasses you soon. At least if you're into that sort of thing. Yes, my small wang is certainly a topic on the table. Topic on the table. Your small wang. Thank you, Axel. USADA CX-30. Yeah, Mazda makes a great car for the money. The CX-30, even a little bit bigger one, CX-50. You're getting like a nice German, quality, or like Lexus quality for a lot less money. Great drivetrain, great reliability. Recommend Mazda if you're on a budget. Look at Mitsubishi. It's not the sexiest car in the world. Not going to help you pick up chicks, but they got an incredible warranty. They've got plug-in hybrids. They got a car you can buy brand new for like $16,000. Thing looks like a boiled egg, but hell, it's cheap. So house power, indeed, Alfred. Let's see. The president can't wage. Yes, he can. He can do whatever he wants. Haven't you heard him? Bought a new Mazda CX-30 subcompact SUV. Well, that's awesome, man. I see so many of those CX-30s. My neighbors, Southern California, universally, people love those cars. So you know, definitely consider it. Seemed like they're taking a lot of market share from like Honda Civic and you know, possibly I guess Corolla and that sort of thing. Highlander, that's right. That's what I was looking for. Highlander. Yeah. Loaded Highlander, like 60 grand. Come on. Give me a break, dude. Where's old Danny made of money? When I break a bone, gravy comes out, not cash. Let's see. Car prices are dumb. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. I can't read all these. Carl Seamark, appreciate it. Garrison, Simon, what's up, brother? Definitely appreciate it. Jason Watkins, thanks for coming back. RB Pizzolo actually made it to the live chat. Preach cornbread. Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate everybody. The wake up call. I am still holding Neo. Yes, unfortunately for me, I am. Yeah, let's see. The one stock to recommend right now that you believe has the highest upside. Wow. Long term, it would still be SoFi. I know, you know, I love Google long term, but I don't love it at this price. I love Microsoft still under 500. One stock long term SoFi, one stock next few years might be SMCI of the stuff I'm talking about. Not even going to get into penny stocks. It's interesting. I can't do the one stock thing, guys, because I just don't think that way. I'm involved in different sectors. I mean, I still own JP Morgan. I still own Bank of America, even though I own a lot more SoFi. You know, I still own a lot of Tesla, even though I own NEO. I just spread risk around and I spread upside around, and I don't try to, you know, paint myself with that broad a brush, if you know what I mean. Um, you guys haven't seen the Luke Wilson little documentary he did at Staples Center for the last Grateful Dead show? It's really cool. Like I used to be a huge, you know, Dead fan, believe it or not. Still am actually, and you know, not like a Deadhead, but I do like the music. I did, you know, you gotta like jam bands. You gotta, you know, it's a whole thing. Like it can be a bit tedious, but it's just kind of cool. Like he's just such a normal guy. And he's just, you know, mixing it up with the fans. And it was actually directed by the bass player's son, who I guess is a film director. Um, good if you ever Insomniac. Okay, guys, I gotta run. Duty and nature both call. Those are two different things. Not do that kind of duty. Number one, and then duty, D-U-T-Y, not duty, D-U-D-Y, like Spalding did in the pool. It was a candy bar, guys. Relax. Otherwise, Carl wouldn't have eaten it. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. It's Un Poco Mas. Get the hell out of here. Don't care. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, guys. Peace. I'm out.